Hello, guys! Welcome, fellow Olympians and 2021 freshmen. Welcome to the last day of your orientation, day 4. And we're gonna have our last Healthy Talk Indonesia for today. And I'll be your host. My name is Daryl Haryono Putra, but of course, I'm not alone. I'm with my very good friend and partner in crime. Please introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Ashil. Hi Daryl, nice to meet you again. Okay, so today I'll be along with Daryl to host the last day of HTI or Healthy Talk Indonesia. But before that, we have something special. What is it there?
Oh, so last night we actually made up our own name of today's episode, ya Shil, which is Podcast PPKM. What is PPKM, Shil? Maybe you can explain to the audience. Yeah.
So, because this is our last episode of HTI, it's gonna be podcast paling keren mantap. Since we are in PPKM, so we don't wanna all of you to be stressed out, so we're gonna just make it really fun with podcast PPKM. Okay. So, what are we going to talk about today, Der?
Today we're gonna talk about a very sensitive topic, and I think it's also something very important that we should address because it not only happens here, but it happens all over the world. So we're gonna talk about today's main topic, which is discrimination. Wow. Okay, so the theme for today is discrimination. So before we dive deeper into discrimination, we have to know what discrimination actually means. So if I take my dictionary over here, we're gonna check the definition of discrimination. So discrimination is the unfair or prejudicial treatment of people and groups based on characteristics such as their race, their gender, their age, their sexual orientation, and even their religion. So that's what discrimination basically is. So it's talking bad about somebody's characteristics.
Yeah. So, it also make other people feel uncomfortable and unable to enjoy their own rights, right? Because they actually have the same right with other people, but because of this discrimination, that person cannot enjoy their own right? And I have one more fact there about discrimination. So this one more fact is actually from our past history. Yeah, so Indonesian go also through a lot of discrimination. Do you remember about the Kartini story there? She's one of the example who experienced discrimination in her era. You know that a woman cannot go to school, right? Women should live in the house. They were human like other men also, but they treat differently because of the gender. So it's one of the a lot of gender discrimination in this world. It was happening to our ancestors. But I'm actually proud of her because of her I'm also able to pursue my highest education probably, and other people could also pursue it. So yeah, discrimination is actually from a past ago, and it was a very sensitive thing, right?
Okay, so yeah, I think Kartini is one of the major examples in our country because she was oppressed being a woman, but she successfully came over that oppression, that discrimination, and now girls and also females in Indonesia, they have better rights. They can go to school, they can pursue education and all that because of Kartini. Okay, so I have a question, Shiel, actually for you before we move on. Yeah, I have a question actually before we move on. So actually I have another story here to tell you. Just a short story. But I wonder if it's actually discrimination or not. So I just wanted to ask your opinion. Wow, thank you. I have is my life a joke, Chill? Okay. Okay. So I have a story. I have a story back in when I was in primary or when I was in grade school. I I used to like somebody. I used to like this girl. But When I confessed to the girl, when I told her that I like her, she said that I was fat and she rejected me. Huh? What do you think, Shaz? That's really sad, because yeah, I was so heartbroken. Is that also discrimination?
I could feel you. I could feel you. Firstly, I could feel you. Because I think I've been there too. But if we're talking about discrimination, it was always like, I mean, your case could also fall into like between discrimination or preference. So I had also a talk about this topic in my class. It was, is it preference or is it discrimination?
That's actually one story that I had, which with a very bad experience with discrimination. So yeah, what do you think about it? Do you have any stories?
Yeah, I think my story is not as severe as yours. I mean, like, your stories probably bring more personal feelings like that. I mean, in my case, I thankfully I always got a place for me which is safe. I mean, a safe place for me to be inside. So actually I was really thankful for that, but I also heard some of my friends who had story like yours. So I'd be more empathic, and I guess people with your kind of story, I mean, like you, are be able to feel more empathy with other people, right? So you wouldn't want any other people to experience what you experience, right? And that's why I think like the victim of the discrimination or bullying or certain kind of things are more sensitive, but they were actually very sincere to other people. And yeah, sometimes it's a good thing for their self-building, but it's also keep some trauma or um, uncomfortable feelings for a long time, right? Like, do you know the Asian hate crime that happened lately in the US? Yeah, it was happening also during the COVID-19, right? So yeah, from what I got from the internet, it was a very very hard situation for Asian people because from the article that I got, it was told that Asian people are being hated because they were the carrier of the COVID-19 pandemic. They're the cause of the pandemic. Even if it's not really actually because of that certain person, right? But it was only linked to the racial appearance or the ancestor, but other people who are actually what is it, innocent, are the one who got it too, just because they share the same race, right? And I think it's really really wrong for them.
Why would you hate on like a grandma staying at her house, but just because she's Chinese, just because she looks Chinese,
Yeah, that's
and
it.
you and then you blame her because she brought COVID. She didn't do anything. She's just relaxing.
In real life, like, she's the kindest person ever. Like, a grandma who is attacked is actually a person who likes to share food with the neighbors, or yeah, certain kind of personal things that other people doesn't see, but they only see that the background is Chinese, the background is Asian, and then they hate it for that reason. It was doesn't make sense actually, like, yeah, right? So yeah, I think discrimination is a very very what do we call it, like a very crisis, apa der, kasih gue ide.
Apa, a very evil, a very major issue itu aja. A major.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think discrimination is a very very major event, right? Like, it was happening from a long time ago. Oh yeah, it was happening from a long time ago, and this issue is not even clean, is not even finished until now. What are we gonna be, right? When, if we still have this discrimination. So yeah, do you have any words for people who are still in the state of discrimination?
for, just to end all of this. I think discrimination is something like, if we all want to live in peace. So why? So the first things first, if you want to live in peace, you have to get rid of this discrimination first. Especially that we live in
Yeah.
such a diverse country where everyone is different, even people from the same race are different. And we live in Indonesia where there's so many islands, so many ethnicities, so many cultures, so
True.
many traditions. So I think it's very important for us to cherish differences instead of hate on other people that are different than us. So I think that's one of the
Yeah.
main takeaways that that you guys should keep in mind. You don't judge people just because of
Even
what they
there.
look like, or
Right, right. I really agree with you. And I mean, even like, though we share a very, very different things, right? We have different race, we have different religion between me and you. We're still the best bro in partnering MC, right? I hope you guys enjoy. Bye bye, guys. See you again.